often do is they'll extrapolate current rates of things into the past, and you cannot make those assumptions. They're assuming they're linear. You cannot make those kind of. That's a typical thing that evolutionists will often do is they'll extrapolate current rates of things into the past, and you cannot make those assumptions. They're assuming they're linear. Yeah, we live in a non-linear world, Art. Facts are facts. We don't live in a world where A equals A.
Well, you might throw in something to the mix like polar reversals and so forth.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Certainly, I have an atheist view of this, and I find the whole concept of God as an arbitrary claim, which means that requires no proof because it has no proof. And I find it hard to understand how somebody that lives their life on faith, which means that they require no proof. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. It's not true that faith requires no proof?
Oh, no, quite the contrary. I think that the faith without proof is nonsense.
Yeah.
And I think that faith is not a proof of a God.
There's tremendous evidence everywhere for the existence of a God.
There's proof of immortal beings. A faith is not the evidence of believing in spite of evidence. Faith is committing in spite of the consequences. And I think the idea that you have faith without evidence is an invitation to stupidity. I think the kind of faith we're talking about is one that responds to the evidence in front of us, both in the creation and also in terms of the message that's been put into our laps called the Bible.
In fact, Jesus encouraged us to worship God with our minds. And the disciples, Thomas, wouldn't believe in the resurrection until he said, I want to see proof. I see the moon.
Where does proof come from, Chuck? Mark, do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Prove it.
You can't prove the existence of God.
Well, exactly.
That's the caller's point.
Right. Consider this. But you cannot prove that he doesn't exist either. Well, that's a great argument. That's the arbitrary claimed argument. You can't prove a negative. You can't prove that I can't fly when no one's watching. But see, I would argue that when you if it's arbitrary. But Art, I would argue that when you look at a watch sitting on a beach, you would argue that a watch requires a watchmaker. And the point in the Bible that Paul the Apostle made is that when you look around, when you see the evidence of design that far exceeds anything ever made by man, that it testifies that there was a mind behind it. And that mind has revealed himself, we believe, in the Bible, and foretold many of the things that are happening today, including the fact that interdimensional beings would come and perform a gigantic delusion in the end times. We believe the UFO alien phenomenon at least will play a part of that role.
Well, when this call started, you talked about the plate tectonic movement, right? Movement of the continents.
And it's written about in the Bible.
Indeed, but where does it suggest there was a quick movement, then a big slowdown?
Yeah. Well, it says in the days of Peleg, meaning apparently during his lifetime, the earth was divided. Implying that the Bible is so arbitrary, you can claim about anything it says that you want. Have you read it? Yes, I've read it from cover to cover. Cover to cover. Twice. Do you realize that there are dozens of scientific discoveries that we've discovered in modern times that are anticipated by the Bible writers? Let me finish. There are mistakes in the Bible, dozens of contradictions. We'll show what about man shall not eat all of the insects or any other four-legged creatures. I know that insects are six-legged creatures. Is that from translation? If that's from translation, how come it's in every version of the Bible?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure what verse you're referring to.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the verse is, but it's in there. That was one of the ones that stood out. Let's consider an immortal being, which means that nothing can hurt it. What values could it possibly have? Why would it do anything? Why does anything alive do anything? The reason it does anything is to keep from being dead, to keep existing. The reason that I eat is not because I like the food, it's because I want to live. The reason that I move, the reason I'm talking to you, the reason I'm able to talk, is because I want to live. And an immortal being, something that cannot be harmed, has no reason to do anything. It will become a rock. A rock is an immortal being. It has no reason to do anything. That is what any immortal being will be.
Caller,
Absolutely nothing.
Well, I appreciate your call. We're woefully short on time. You should have been here earlier.
So I tried to get in early, okay?
All right. Thank you very much for the call. And, gentlemen, you have both been absolutely fascinating. And we will have you back and do it again.
Well, all right. Thank you, Mayor Hospital. It's nice to be part of excellence in broadcasting, okay?
You both take care.
Thank you.
I guess in a loose sort of way that'd be true, wouldn't it? We're both in the same company. Anyway, excellence is excellence. All right, folks. That's all for tonight. Tomorrow night, unless something astronomical occurs, and you can never rule that out, we're going to have open lines. And I know you've been looking forward to that, so whatever it is on your mind, get ready, because tomorrow night will be, in all probability, your opportunity. Good night, all.
Okay, BFM Atlantic Beach, broadcasting from the Talon Wealth Management Studio. Listen everywhere on the TuneIn Radio app, 104.5 WOKV.
It's time to recognize you sausage-loving genius. For without you, how would we know that Edward smoked sausage can be eaten fresh every day, and that you can take your lunch break before noon? Here's to you, Edward smoked sausage. You do you.
As humans, we're naturally driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. With over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent recent survey. So listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your job's full visibility at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Networks make it possible to share data from lots of places, like a bird sanctuary. Realize there is a type of place, but to make them powerful enough to deliver new opportunities at the edge, you need CDW and Aruba. CDW experts can help design and implement an Aruba Edge Services platform, which unifies, secures, and automates network environments everywhere, so you can translate data into innovation. Sorry, do you mind? This is confidential. Aruba makes visibility at the edge possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/Aruba.
This is the story of Luan. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or belts slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger.
Have you got your medication today?
Groceries, check. Clean bathroom, check. Take out the trash, check. Lawn care? You know what? I'll let True Green take this one. True Green is the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. They'll give you a pro level one and the guaranteed lowest price thanks to their verified price match. The best lawns, the best price, guaranteed. Check, check, check. Visit TrueGreen.com to make your to-do list a whole lot better.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked-in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
If you've got questions, O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. The automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
It's your last chance to save on your perfect gift at Macy's Mother's Day sale. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take 25% off great gift ideas.
Hello, you're through to Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help?
30% off fine jewelry and 30 to 40%.
Your beautiful new aircraft is waiting at our nearest airfield. We hope you're very happy, sir.
Coach, Carolina Herrera, and more. Give love today at Macy's Mother's Day sale. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices, exclusion supply.
From State Farm, I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new chocolate cleaning spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm personal price plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab your coconut water.
Bundle. Just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like we did neighbor, State Farm was there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state. Fashion.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents You Cool. Today's contestant, an avocado consultant from Jacksonville, Florida, named Dave Ortega. Okay, Dave, here's your question. Your house is not bad in the morning, but by the afternoon, your AC can barely keep up, even with the curtains closed. What do you do?
Oh, can I buy a valve?
Not that kind of show, Dave.
Can I skip over?
You don't even have to know anything.
Can I pull a friend? Can I call Bueller?
Call Bueller Air and Plumbing to assess your home's airflow and sunlight patterns and learn on its optimization, conditioning, select.
This is back. This game is my life.
Well, you gotta get out more, Dave. Visit BuellerAir.com. The president campaigning out west. I'm Ted Littner, Fox News. President Biden Saturday concluding his West Coast campaign swing with an event in Medina, Washington. President dealing with demonstrators of the war between Israel and Hamas as well.
Dozens of protesters gathering outside of President Biden's events in California and Washington on Friday. There were demonstrators outside of his fundraisers in the Bay Area. And then in Seattle later that evening, a similar scene with protesters rallying downtown calling for a ceasefire. They're really not appeased despite the president's decision to pause sending some offensive weapons to Israel because of fears they might cause widespread civilian deaths in Rafah. Democrats are anxious the unrest could overshadow the convention in Chicago this summer. Politico now reporting some people in the president's orbit are pushing to make the event a hybrid production to minimize the possibilities of disruptions.
Fox's Madeline Rivera's president facing an impeachment effort following his threat to withhold weapons from Israel as the war against Hamas continues. That is, if Israel moves forward with their planned invasion of Rafah. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson with more details from the White House.
The Republican lawmaker leading the impeachment effort says President Biden's decision to withhold weaponry to Israel is all about politics. Corey Mills, congressman from Florida, said that, quote, he wants to win Michigan, he wants to pander to the radical left. Now, of course, Biden is not the only president to withhold aid to Israel. Ronald Reagan held up 7 F-16 and cluster bombs in the 80s, but what some think is now different is now not the time to delay weapons shipments to Israel. Hamas slaughtered 1,200 Israelis on October 7th and took hundreds hostage. 133 were in captivity, and seeing some American support blocking weapons to Israel while talking about settlement policy in 2019, something Biden said he would never do.
And America's listening to Fox News. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already earned $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to pay, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. Former President and mostly 2024 Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump visiting the Garden State of New Jersey for a rally on Saturday.
Fox's John Scott with more.
Former President Trump hitting the campaign trail this weekend after an explosive week of testimony in his New York criminal trial. Mr. Trump wrapping up an event in front of thousands of people in Wildwood, New Jersey. He touched on many issues, including tax cuts, health care, and anti-Semitism.
The former president calling his criminal New York hush money trial a witch hunt. That was Fox's John Scott. The Biden administration says it's not giving up hope of a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas.
Despite another impasse in negotiations for a hostage deal and ceasefire in Gaza, White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby says the U.S. still believes gaps between the two sides can be closed.
It's going to require leadership. It's going to require some moral courage. It's going to require continued abilities to compromise and negotiate in good faith. We're not giving up on that.
Kirby says while talks broke up in Cairo, U.S. negotiators are working to keep all sides engaged and meeting virtually. Hamas indicated last week and accepted an agreement. Israel says that proposal is a challenge. Changes Israel could not accept. Jared Halpern, Fox News.
In American popularity falling around the world, Europeans want governments to get a grip on immigration. Fox's Jonathan Savage explains why.
73,000 people across 53 countries were polled for the Democracy Perception Index, and the USA's reputation is on the decline, especially in European countries like Germany and Ireland. That's thought to be linked to support for Israel's war in Gaza. The United States is still more popular than fellow superpowers China and Russia, though. The survey also asked people what their governments should prioritize. In Europe in particular, a desire to reduce immigration is growing, outstripping climate change as a major concern for many. John Safi, Fox News.
And that's about later. This is Fox News.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save them their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The WOKV First Alert Forecast.
It's a 9 on the WOKV weather meter after a nice and warm day. It's going to be clear and a touch cool tonight. Overnight low inland will be in the 50s and we'll be right around 60 in Jacksonville. And then Mother's Day is partly sunny and still really nice. There will be more clouds and temperatures will still be warm, but it's going to be a great day. We turn partly to mostly cloudy on Monday with a few showers and storms late in the day as a wetter weather pattern begins. From the Action News Jax Popular Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima for 104.5 WOKV.
This is 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's news and traffic.
Thanks for inviting me into your home, your long-haul truck, RV, camper, taxi, your parents' well-appointed basement with the simulated wood paneling, electric fireplace, and the painting of dogs playing poker. You're lost. That greasy spoon just off the interstate, and your cabin lists. Welcome to Coast AM, the very best in late-night talk radio. I'm Richard Serrett, and tonight, this morning, I'm coming to you once again live from the home studio in Old Thornhill, just north of Toronto. Coming up in hours 1 and 2, prepare yourselves for a tale that will shake the very foundations of your realities. A tale of deception, power, and the looming specter of something called the Great Takings. At its helm stands David Webb, a former hedge fund manager turned whistleblower, who has unearthed a conspiracy so vast, so insidious, it threatens to plunge humanity into the abyss. The Great Takings is not a mere theory, he maintains. It is a meticulously crafted blueprint for global domination, a diabolical scheme decades in the making. Webb's revelations paint a chilling portrait of a world where every financial asset, every bank, every shred of wealth is poised to be snatched away by an unseen hand. What happened? You may wonder, can such a grand design be executed? Enter the shadowy forces of the United Central Bank, who have spent years laying the groundwork for this moment. Through a series of carefully orchestrated maneuvers, they manipulated the state structures, infiltrated governments, and ensnared the masses in a web of debt. Their control is absolute, their influence pervasive, and their intentions sinister. But let's delve deeper into the mechanics of the Great Taking, for therein lies the true horror of this conspiracy. According to David Webb's chilling accounts, the plan hinges on the severance of property rights and the consolidation of power in the hands of a select few. Through a series of legal maneuvers and financial machinations, the forces behind central banking seek to strip humanity of its wealth and sovereignty, leaving us at their mercy. At the heart of the Great Taking lies the manipulation of securities, slimy practice where financial institutions rehypothecate assets, creating multiple claims on the same property. This insidious tactic not only undermines the rights of individual investors, but also paves the way for the wholesale confiscation of assets during times of crisis. But the horrors do not end there. The Great Taking extends its grasp to every corner of society, ensnaring both public and private assets alike. From bank deposits to stocks and bonds, from real estate to intellectual property, no wealth is safe from the insatiable appetite of the shadowy elite. And so, we are left to ponder the most pressing question of all. Can they be stopped? Well, the answer, my friends, lies in our collective resolve to shine light into the darkest recesses of this conspiracy. Mel Madison is a master of both finance and fiction. He'll join us in hours 1 and 2 to dissect the Great Taking and unravel its mysteries and expose the secrets that lie within. The hours late, the forces arrayed against us are formidable. The night may be dark, but our resolve burns bright. With Mel Madison by our side, we'll rise to meet the challenge before us, armed with numbers, courage, and the unshakable belief that the truth will prevail. So, bar the doors and brace yourselves for a journey into the unknown. Coming up in hours 3 and 4, we voyage through time and space to uncover the truth behind one of the most enigmatic USO incidents in history. One you've likely never heard of before. An unidentified submerged object that nearly triggered World War III. Chris Steiners has spent decades unraveling the mysteries of the cosmos, shedding light on events that defy rational explanation, particularly those surrounding Canada's most famous UFO incident, which occurred in and around Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia in 1967. At the heart of tonight's discussion lies Chris's latest book, Clear Sweep 5. It's groundbreaking, and the culmination of nearly 30 years of tireless research and relentless pursuit of the truth. Clear Sweep 5 tells the story of the very first time of the shell-borne USO incident that occurred on October 12, 1960, a day that would go down in history as the moment when death on line was declared. The logbook of the mission command ship HMCS Cape Scott stands as a silent witness to the events of that fateful day, a day when tensions ran high and the fate of the world hung in the balance. But it is through Stiles' meticulous research that the true story begins to emerge, a story of 10 U.S. Navy ships and 9 Royal Canadian Navy vessels embarking on a mission that would defy all explanation. Numerous swirl of underwater film footage, debris collection, and encounters with otherworldly phenomena. But the truth remains elusive. What happened on that fateful day, and why has it remained shrouded in secrecy for so long? These are the questions that hang on the pages of Clear Sweep 5, a bridging account of one man's quest for the truth in the face of overwhelming odds. Chris Stiles and Clear Sweep 5, NATO's UFO encounters, comes your way in hours 3 and 4. Mel Madison reveals a dastardly plot dubbed The Great Taking next. Welcome to the audio of Imaginaries. Come on in, weary traveler, hang your cloak and a peg, grab a stool, and Come gather by the fire. There are stories to tell. You are among friends. I'm Richard Serra, and this is Coast to Coast AM. Why don't you stay with us?
In your savings, weather, and economic storm, there are very few physical assets you can invest in that are proven to stand the test of time. Gold has withstood as a valued form of money for millennia. Birch Gold lets you convert a retirement account.
Time is 2:24.
Physical gold. It doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text Coast to 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold. Text Coast to 989898 and secure your savings today.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit. Credit for deciding while stuck in traffic to get an extra degree. Credit for managing their kids, 2 dogs, and full-time jobs. Flexible online and hybrid classes start May 15th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by SHAP.
It's happening daily. Being drawn by the institution we used to trust. Mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. Time is short before something big happens. That's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure 4-week emergency food kits for each member of your family. Each kit contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase. Plus, get free shipping on Ready Hour 4-week emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. Your unmarked boxes ship the same day. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Mel Madison is a writer and financial services veteran, leveraging over 20 years' experience in the realm of high finance. Brings real-world authenticity to his fictional narratives. Having served as the CEO of 3 separate FINRA and SEC-regulated broker dealers, Mel combines insider knowledge with a critical ideas and economic forces that shape all economies. With a knack for deconstructing jargon and making it complex understandable, Mel sheds light on the sometimes dark and confusing corners of finance. Holds MBA from Duke University. Studied creative writing at Loyola University, Chicago. His debut novel, Quants, received strong advanced reviews and is available wherever books are sold. Published by Postville Press and distributed by Simon & Schuster. Quants delivers an epic thrill rush, packs of action intrigue, and a healthy dose of economic realism. Mel Madison, welcome back to Coast again. How are you?
Doing well, thanks, Stuart.
So let's dive right in. The Great Taking. What is it? What is meant by the term the Great Taking?
Sure. So, as you mentioned in the introduction, this is not the discussion about a legal framework that is currently in place whereby all the financial assets, and this apparently what this came about is like bonds that you or I think we actually do not. They are owned by a supranational type entity, company, known as the Depository Trust and Security Corporation of the United States. And there are other similar entities around the world in places like Europe, Canada, that actually hold companies' assets, and under certain conditions, creditors, people that are associated with these companies that may be involved in types of derivative assets or other types of financial instruments, have, as we speak, a legal claim to these assets. And quickly to repeat that, all the assets that people might think that have in their JP Morgan brokerage account or Charles Schwab or any of the name brokers, they're not really owned by you. They are owned by this Summit Clearing Company, and their creditors have senior claims on those assets in the case of certain faults or economic distress.
The Depository Trust Clearing Corporation of the United States, and you say there are equivalents of the DTCC in most countries around the world, or in some countries around the world.
All countries with sophisticated financial markets. In Europe, it's called ProClear. In Canada, it's the Canadian Depository or Securities Depository CTAD. So this is global conspiracy. This is the players involved, from the CIA to the Rockefellers, goes back decades. It's a long time to be put into place. And the final pieces of the puzzle are being put in place now. And it's really something that it's scary. I have to work, as you mentioned, so over 2 decades financial services business. I'm an MBA student. I've always considered myself very financially savvy individual. I understood that when you buy a stock or a bond in a brokerage account, it gets put into what they tell you is a segregated account, and it's separate that entity that I didn't fully understand is that behind the scenes, broker, whether, as I mentioned, any for JP Morgan, the DTCC pushes a list of brokers that are involved. It's 880 different entities, everything from every major U.S. broker to the foreign brokers, Bank of Montreal, Bank of China, UBS, all of these entities pull these assets together. And the reason they do this is so that at the end of the day, all of these assets can be used as collateral for the massive 1 quadrillion plus derivatives market. And behind the scenes, your assets, my assets, are all pulled together, and they are quite literally used as collateral for these very risky derivatives contracts.
All right, so that's kind of a nice overview of the Great Taking, which is also the title of a book by David Rogers Webb, this former hedge fund manager turned whistleblower, who now lives, I guess, in kind of a secretive life in exile on a farm in Sweden, as I understand. But you can tell us more, if you can, about who David Webb is and why we should believe him.
Exactly. So when I first started learning about this, I did not David Webb's work. I went in and researched the cause behind it, the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 8, and different ancillary laws. But just to answer the direct question to David Rogers Webb, I wish to believe he's an individual, someone like myself who was an industry insider, worked for decades for lobbying firms. Eventually, he ran a hedge fund. He began noticing at a certain point that increases in the money supply in the fund, meaning basically the some of the financial system with dollars, was getting to a pink level, and he used it as a trading mechanism. He monitored these flows of funds, and he was a very successful hedge fund trader. He makes a good amount of money doing this. And at a certain point, as he began looking more closely at central banks, at some of these larger international organizations, clearing organizations, he began to get very worried. He started to see the actual structure that was in place. He began to see the very plausible and real possibility that in the event of economic distress, something that we have seen repeatedly over the last 100 years, whether we're talking about the Great Depression, the Great Financial Crisis in 2008, 2009, where stress hits the market and begins to collapse, that the dominoes are stacked, so to speak, in such a way that all of these assets that people think that they own are actually being pledged as collateral, and that the forces that be, the senior creditors, which would be the large banks, could essentially swoop in and claim these assets, take them away from people, and do so in a way that is completely consistent with current law as it is written.
So, my knowledge of finance is somewhat limited, but let me see if I can summarize this in a way that makes sense to me and hopefully the listeners. Let's say, for example, let's use the example of a bank deposits, and I've got money in a bank account. When this financial crisis, whatever that may be, whatever form it may take, hits, I am no longer seen as a depositor. I am almost seen as a shareholder in the bank, or a partner in the bank, and therefore my deposits and everyone else's deposits are basically assets that will be confiscated by the creditors as the bank is collapsing. The creditors swoop in, and we'll discuss who these people might be. They'll take that money, they'll bail that money out, and I have no recourse. Is that basically what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it might help us to think a little bit about, the way most people would understand how it works, how we got to where we are, because, the way it used to work makes a lot of sense. So companies like Apple, let's say, would issue stock, and if you bought the stock, you would get a stock certificate. You would actually be the owner. You would own this stock certificate. What happened was, in the 60s and 70s, as trade volumes increased, it became difficult to use physical certificates. It got so difficult that many street firms actually started closing on Wednesday, one day a week, to answer paperwork. And while this easily could have been solved and kept a situation where you or I was the ultimate owners of these stocks, the fact that all this paperwork was piling up was used as an excuse to create the ability to do what they call minority netting, or in another word, pooling everybody's assets together under common ownership so that it could be used as collateral. So it would be a little bit as if, we put the money into the bank, and instead of putting down in the account, you just put it, deposited $100, they actually take that $100 and they think it is owned by somebody else. And then they allow that somebody else to do all kind of bets with it, which is not completely different from what banks actually do. So in some sense, banks already do this with our cash. But what is also going on is this thing that's going on with stocks and with bonds. And if companies have their way, they are putting in plans to what they call tokenize or digitize all real world assets, things like homes and cars, so that they can also be used as trading collateral. And it is essentially a framework where everything is owned by the few people. And in the case that these intermediaries were just collecting, us who think we own it, we're called benefit owners now, we're the entitlement holders, we would be left holding the bag. We would be left with whatever's left over after everybody else higher up the chain gets made whole.
Higher up the chain gets made whole. In other words, For example, in a Chapter 11 or a bankruptcy, you have creditors that line up because they're owed money from this bankrupt entity. So they need to be made whole. So you're saying, again, in the instance of some sort of financial calamity, banks are collapsing. Investment firms are collapsing, like we saw in 2008, 2009. The creditors, in this case, the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, they need to be made whole. So they're going to swoop in and take all of my deposits, all of my stocks, all of my bonds, maybe even my car and my house, because I don't really own it.
Yes, and this actually has already happened, and it happened with the collapse of Lehman Brothers.
And, all right, listen, Mel, I got to take a time out. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. Mel Madison, the author of Quaz, a financial thriller, talking about the great taking us into the break. Ray LaMontagne, hold you in my arms on Coast to Coast 8.
Go back to here that I see you back seems like everywhere you turn, that's the feeling. You really promise from the die.
Tell us what's happening in the news, traffic, or weather with Open Mind in the News 104.5 WOKC. Sponsored by Magnet Research, saluting all military and first responders.
Hello, I'm Eddie Fairbanks.
First alert forecast.
It's a 9 on the WOKV weather meter. After a nice and warm day, it's going to be clear and a touch cool tonight. Overnight lows inland will be in the 50s and will be right around 60 in Jacksonville. And Mother's Day is partly sunny and still really nice. There will be more clouds and temperatures will still be warm, but it's going to be a great day. We turn partly to mostly cloudy on Monday with a few showers and storms late in the day as a wetter weather pattern begins. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima for 104.5 WOKV.
She might be the size of a bus, but she handles like a beauty. My dad keeps asking me when I'll get a real job, but I say it's too late for me now. Beautiful day, isn't it? Perfect conditions for us, I'd say.
Coast to Coast and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM. Now, here's your guest host, Richard Serrett.
Welcome back. That's Charles Bradley, Dusty Blue.
I hope you enjoy your time aboard.
Underground lightning is one of the many perils of using fusion technology to drill the deepest holes of Earth to unlock limitless clean energy from its core. According to one of the masterminds behind the plan, using a gyrotron to drill through the Earth's crust in a quest for unlimited power may sound like sci-fi, but this is exactly what U.S. startup Quaise Energy, which counts Japan's Mitsubishi among its backers, plans to do. Earth is a massive battery and an incredibly untapped source of clean, renewable energy. Quaise co-founder Matthew Woolley told Recharge, geothermal is still a niche source of renewable energy compared to wind, solar, and hydro, but who, or who day, believes it is poised for a breakthrough. Geothermal is an ideal complement to intermittent energy from wind and solar farms, he said, because it provides a steady baseload power. Another huge plus is that geothermal is primed to take advantage of the largest industry in the world today, which is the oil and gas sector. And as he said, it requires a lot of the same exact skills and workers. You can read more about geothermal energy in the news section of the coast-to-coast-am.com. Hey, have you checked out Coast to Coast AM and iHeartMedia's Paranormal Podcast Network yet? This exciting network features free podcasts about the paranormal, supernatural, and the unexplained. And our current offerings include Joshua P. Warren's Strange Things, Sandra Champlain's Shades of the Afterlife, Heidi Hollis's Dark Becomes Light, and a brand new offering debuting very soon. The podcast is called Beyond Contact with Captain Ross. You can look for new episodes every Friday. That's the Coast to Coast AM and iHeartMedia's Paranormal Podcast Network. All right, when we come back, more of my conversation with Mel Madison as we discuss the great taking right here on Coast to Coast AM.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. Both say that having a backup supply of food on hand is essential in a crisis. We see disasters every night on TV, yet many Americans don't have enough food to outlast a real crisis. Now's the time to stock up. Right now, you can get 2 free one-week survival food kits at freefoods3.com. That's right, when you buy a single one-week survival food kit, you'll get 2 more absolutely free. No coupon codes. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just go to freefoods3.com to claim your free survival food. These are delicious, flavorful survival meals designed to last 25 years. But you have to hurry. This limited time deal ends soon, may not be back for a while. Go to freefoods3.com. This deal won't last. This deal ends June 30th.
There's so much happening around our country, from border issues to local crimes happening in your backyard. Byrna is a less lethal pistol that can protect you from potential threats surrounding you. That's BYRNA. The Byrna less lethal pistol fires powerful deterrents like tear gas and kinetic ammo. Byrna is a great alternative you can rely on if you're ever in a situation where you need protection but don't want to use deadly force. One bullet can ruin 2 lives. It's legal in all 50 states, no background checks are required, and it's shipped right to your door. Government agencies and police departments across the country rely on Byrna as their go-to less lethal option. It works for them and will work for you. Check out their 14,000 4.5-star reviews. Byrna is proudly American, manufactured in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's time to join the 500,000 others who have purchased a Byrna. Visit Byrna.com/radio10 for an exclusive 10% discount. That's BYRNA.com/radio10.
We are back with Mel Madison, the author of Flaws, a financial thriller, and he has a background in fintech and finance, and talking about the great taking book by a former hedge fund manager, David Rogers-Webb, who lives, I guess, in sort of south of Vortex Island, a small farm in Sweden. He drew the window on this theme that we'll see all of our assets, all of our securities, our deposits, basically stolen out from under us by something called the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. And over the last several decades, they have brought about essentially digitizing or tokenizing all assets. They will be, in the event of some sort of financial cataclysm, they will swoop in and take all of these assets as collateral. So let's talk about the DTCC, the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation. The last time we were on the program, early in 2024, now we were talking about the central bank what was it called again? The
Bank for International Settlements.
Thank you. Yes, the BIS, the Bank for International Settlements. But they are involved in many ways. But anyway, what is the EGCC?
Yeah, exactly. So if we look at the ownership, and just one thing, just to be crystal clear about this, it is not that they have to come in and swoop up and take these assets. They literally already own them. This company owns over $100 trillion of U.S. assets. All of the assets that are held in brokerage accounts, at Schwab, at JP Morgan, at TD Ameritrade, all the assets that you think you already own, they are already legally owned by a subsidiary of this company called CEDECO, C-E-D-E-C-O. It is a wholly owned subsidiary of the DTCC. They are the legal owner of 83% of U.S. stocks and bonds. There are ways to hold outside of this system, which if we want to get into later, we can. But all of these assets are already owned by this company, so that there is no need for someone to come in and say transfer ownership. And this is exactly why it is set up this way, so that it is an end run around bankruptcy court. Because if a broker-dealer or like Schwab were to go under, or any company, what normally happens in the bankruptcy is a judge puts a freeze on the assets so that everything can be sorted out, and then appropriate people get what they're owed. This is outside of the bankruptcy court jurisdiction because these broker-dealers and you as an investor are not the legal owner. You own something that is defined in the Uniform Commercial Code as a securities entitlement, which gives you a contractual claim. It's not a property right, and it is secondary and subservient to the true owner, which is this company, CEDECO. And if you go to your broker and you ask about this, chances are they didn't know about it. But if you push and push and push, eventually, if you finally get to someone who has any type of knowledge about the actual inner workings of the broker, they will admit that this is the case, and it can be found by looking on their website, and it's all out there publicly available. So who owns DTCC is the exact same people who own the Federal Reserve Bank of New York or the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. It's owned by the term they use is the participant, which is the member firm. It's owned by the JP Morgan, the Charles Schwab. It is owned by the bank broker-dealer. So it is not owned by the government in any way. It's not regulated by the government under the type of regulations that you might have for an agency. And there is no, disclosure requirement and FOIA requests on it to find out what's really going on. It is a privately owned corporation owned by the large banks, and just the same way that the Federal Reserve banks are owned. And so it's part of this international cabal, if you will, of making dynasties that are global in nature, that have offices around the world, and that trace their lineages back to, some of the wealthiest families in Europe and the United Kingdom, and then later American dynasties like the Morgan.
And somebody at some point must have sat down and figured this scheme out. So I've got a plan where we can digitize and tokenize all securities and basically take ownership of everyone's property, and no one is happy, no one will see it's coming. So we know when that was, and who came up with this scheme.
So the founder of this company, who ran it for about the first 20 years of its existence, put this in place, is a guy who was recently passed away. His name was William Dentner. And William Dentner is a very interesting character. So after graduating from school, we went to work doing some foreign aid work in South America. We worked with an agency of the federal government called USAID, United States Agency for International Development. This is a shadowy international agency. It's the same agency, by the way, that when the United States passed the bill to give $61 billion to Ukraine, they funneled the money to this agency, USAID, who then actually does not distribute it to Ukraine, but they distribute it to the World Bank. So that's a different story. But this agency that William Dexter was a part of, doing this government aid work in Peru, he at some point gets seconded into the Central Intelligence Agency. And this is, again, this is not conspiracy theory. In fact, when this gentleman died, the Wall Street Journal read an article about his death, which was William Dexter helped Wall Street unsnarl his paperwork. Former CIA operative, dead at 91, led early clearinghouse for stock trading. So this was set up by a former CIA operative. He had no banking expertise. He had been working in South America, and relatively out of nowhere, he gets hand-selected for 1 year before starting the company to run the New York banking regulator by the governor at that time, Nelson Rockefeller. So we have a Rockefeller-appointed CIA operative who started this company in the 60s and 70s.
So did he come up with this scheme on his own? Was he hired specifically to come up with this plan?
So the original plan, as I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of paperwork to get to pile up. And there was a private company, a separate company, separate to the bank, that was creating a punch card system to essentially use the early form of computer to solve this problem. The bank, instead of utilizing the independent private company solution, they put together a cartel in the same way that in 1913 the banks got together and created the Federal Reserve. They put together a group of what they call participants to create a separate company, and they put this CIA operative in charge of overseeing. Now, ostensibly on the outside, it was to create a central clearinghouse where the different brokers could together and that way settle trades more quickly. But what ultimately happened was there was a realization that not only could we take everybody that pull them together, making some sort of a legal ownership structure where individuals still own their security, that if we could put into law a set of clauses or framework whereby we could transfer true legal ownership to one company, then that company could not only be a clearinghouse for trades back and forth, there really wouldn't need to be trades back and forth. It would just be changing of book entries or the accounting records of this one company. And so, like, if JP Morgan owns 10% of Apple stock on one day, and at the end of the day, they own 10.2%, and Charles Schwab owns 8%, and then the next day they own 7.8%. No stocks need to be, ownership needs to be changed. The company never needs to be contacted and have, new certificate issues. This overarching company, Steve & Co., part of the DTCC, could simply on its own books and records change this. And what that allows, since these securities are not actually being bought and sold at the true level of ownership, is they could then be posted as collateral. And this is what led to the birth of the derivatives market, which was non-existent before this framework was put into place. And so this is what led to when, 2008, 2009, time, it wasn't the fact that people were getting their houses foreclosed upon that caused the financial stress. It was the fact that banks and brokers had financialized these assets and created trillions of dollars of derivatives, synthetic mortgage obligations, synthetic CDOs, NDS squares, all these types of crazy instruments that were essentially bet on the mortgage market and bet at multiples of the actual value of the mortgage that threatened